So today we're out here, we're gonna cut some apple wood. We butchered a few pigs last week, and we're gonna smoke the hams and the bacon. So we wanna get some nice, there's some dry, dead stuff here, but I'm gonna be cutting off some green limbs off the old apple tree out here. And we're gonna take it home, cut it up small, and start smoking those hams. We'll do a video of us setting that up and everything, and maybe all the way through to the finished product, the slicing the bacon and frying it up. So, hope you enjoy it.
And we're also going to pull out some hickory. This is hickory right here. I just pulled out these few pieces here. We're going to mix some of the hickory with the apple wood to smoke the hams and bacons. So I'm going to get these unloaded and go back down, and we're going to pull out a little bit more.
So we're back at the house, and we're gonna start smoking the bacon. This is the smoker. It's a stainless steel box that I made up. I originally had this made up with electric element in the bottom that would burn chips in the bottom of it, but now I hooked it up to our smoking grill. But I'll show you inside here. I got the bacons in there already. That's just the bacon off of one pig. I just got it out of the cooler. We have another pig in the cooler yet that we'll take out and smoke the rest of that. And there's also 4 hams we got to smoke in here. So it's going to be kind of a long process. From what I've looked at, the bacons are going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours for the bacon, and the hams take 6 to 12 hours. So that's the bacon sitting in there on the rack. I got my thermometer up here to kind of keep an eye on the temperature. Then what I do now is I run it into the side vent of the smoker, and I run it through just a aluminum dryer vent that just comes down, hooks into my smoker grill. And then I'll have my fire over here on this side. And then I can kind of adjust the temperature. If that's starting to get too warm, I open up the grill a little bit. The reason this is so long, it gives the smoke time to cool off. We're not trying to cook the bacon or the hams, we're just trying to smoke them. So the lower temperature you can have for that, like that'll probably be about 100 to 110 degrees in there. If I were smoking them just in this part of the grill, this gets over 200 degrees, so you're actually cooking it rather than just smoking it. So what I got here is I got the fire kind of started on this side, and since I shut that, now that's going to start smoking in there. But I went ahead, I'll shut the vent down here, and I have that apple wood that we got earlier. I have it soaking in here in water. So you want to get your wood kind of wet so it actually smokes. So I cut some small pieces and threw in here to start with. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to my fire. So in there I have, right now, I just got some dry maple, which I started the fire with, which is just kind of stuff left over from evaporating. So we put this wet wood in so it creates smoke. as it burns. So you can hear it kind of sizzling in there. And we'll go ahead and shut that. And you can see how it's smoking here. See, it's already up to 150 degrees in there. But now if you look back, you come back over to the smoker, you can see the smoke starting to come out. So like right now it's about 66 degrees in there. But I'll go ahead and open that up and you can see how the smoke goes around those bacons. And that's just smoking it. It's cool in there yet. So I'm cutting that into small pieces so it can soak up more water and I can put more into the fire. You want to keep your fire kind of cool, so that's why we want it to smoke. That's why we have the wet apple wood. And like I was saying about getting the apple wood, you want to make sure that you know the trees that it comes from. You don't want to get it from like a commercial place that's spraying chemicals on the trees in order to keep bugs and stuff away, fungicides. This is a tree on the other farm, kind of where we get our maple syrup from. You know, I grew up on there. We have never put anything on there. We've owned it for over 40 years and those trees have never got anything on it. So I know where this wood is coming from. That's why I went to get it up there. So that's kind of what I wanted to say too. You don't want wood that you've been spraying for pesticides and stuff like that. So know where your wood comes from and be safe. So I didn't say how we did the brine. We soaked it 7 to 10 days. We put it in the cooler and soak it in the brine. The brine is, I mix it up 5 gallons at a time. So it's 5 gallons of water to 5 cups of salt and 1 cup of maple syrup, and you just let it soak in that. The salt works into the bacon and the hams, and then when you smoke it, it kind of cures it. This is not like a traditional ham that you can hang outside that's already completely cured and will last at room temperature. These do have to be froze or refrigerated because these are not cooked. They're just a low, slow smoked ham and bacon is all it is. So now this is the bacon. When you buy it from a store, it's already cut up, but this is like a whole half a bacon here. So I'm going to cut that in half like that, and I'm going to take my rods and bend them into hooks. Now I don't know if it's better to hang them this way. I think I'm going to hang it this way here, and I'm just going to take my hook, jam it in, and then I need to bend this one. Now I put these hooks in the fire to kind of treat them. So this one's a little bit long, I think, but we're just going to hang that up in there like that. This one I'm just going to, oh, I need to twist it now. So there, that's just going to hang like that. I'll hang one up there, and then I can move this rod in here, and I'll just hang that in there like that. And then this one, I'll do the same. This one's a little longer, so I might put 3 hooks in this one. these hooks. These are just like steel wire that you can get. And then my hangers in here are rods, metal rods that are cut off and fit in there pretty decently. So like I said, these have been in brine for about seven to, I think it's almost 10 days. And like I said, this is a half a hog, the bellies, and then this will be your bacon. So when you buy the bacon in the store, it's already cut into these strips like that. So they smoke it and cut it up and everything, and then you just buy it packaged. But like one of these, I think one of these are about 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds. And you know, this would make, if you bought bacon in the store, you know, this would probably do about 4 packages of bacon. It might even actually be more heavier than that, but so I'm just gonna keep hanging them in here. I'll probably bring this one forward a little bit so the smoke can get around back better. So the other bacon we put on racks, and I didn't like the way it smoked. It tasted good and everything, but I just didn't like the amount of moisture that was left in the bacon. And I'm thinking with me hanging it like this, a lot of that moisture is going to go out of it. So it's going to be a little bit drier, which will be easier to vacuum seal when the time comes. So that's my idea with hanging it in there. The hams, I won't probably have an option. The hams might be too big to actually hang, so we might just have to go ahead and set those on the racks. I originally made this smoker for smoking ring bologna and venison sausage, so it wasn't designed to do bacon and ham, but we're just making the best of it. So I think that'll do. So go ahead, we can close that up now, and I'll go over here and we'll put the smoke to it. I started this already earlier today to get a nice coal base like I did yesterday. I put maple wood in there to begin with, some nice maple, and then we went ahead and do that wet apple chip. So you can see how quick that starts coming out of there, and I'm just going to go ahead, stick that in this hole here, and then that'll start smoking. I'm going to shut my vent up top, and that's all there is to it. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw a bunch more wet wood on here. So if you didn't notice from a previous video, these are just the bottom of the maple syrup totes that we cut for actually little chick brooding pens. The top part of this, when we get our chicks in the, like actually this week, this Friday, we're going to be getting 200 meat birds. We'll probably do a video of that, and they go in the top portion of those. We did a video on how we made those for keeping the chicks in, and here's just another use to try to use as many things over again on the homestead as you can. So I'm gonna let this smoke. The last bacon I took out, I think I smoked that for close to 12 hours. I didn't think it was gonna take quite that long. We already tried it this morning, had a really nice flavor, so I'm gonna do the same with this. smoke it for about 12 hours, and then we'll get the hams in. They're still in the brine, so they're still okay in the cooler. I keep the cooler at like 34 degrees, so it's pretty cold in there. And we're just gonna let this smoke, and we'll see it the next time. So it's the next morning, and we're gonna go ahead and take the bacons out. First thing I gotta do is kind of shut all this down, and then I can go ahead and just lift this off. That'll keep the smoke from going in. Disconnect this. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and open that up and let the smoke out. And you can see our bacon's hanging in there. Once the smoke gets all out of there, I'll pull them out, throw them up here on the cutting board. I'll change to my rubber gloves that I use to pull them out with. And they look pretty good. They smell like smoke. So there's one. So I'm going to take my hooks out. And what I got to do is I got to kind of cut this so it fits in my freezer bags. So I'm just going to take this extra piece off of here. And these I can take in, and we'll just fry those up for breakfast this morning. So I'm just going to set that one there. Let me grab the other one out. So these are a little wetter than I'd like to see them. I'm thinking I'm going to change the smoker a little bit for next time. Maybe if I can get a little more heat in there at a time. Maybe at the ending, if I put just heat and not as much moisture in, I'll be able to dry them up a little more, which I think would be a good thing. Just go ahead and slice that in half. And now when we fry this, this doesn't shrink down as much. So like when you fry your bacon, you're just gonna cut little tiny slices off of there. So I'm gonna have these here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just show you how we vacuum seal these. And then we'll get them in the freezer. So for that, I just wear one glove. I should put that up there. I got these bags already, went ahead and sealed the bottom part of them. So you just open them up. This is kind of a messy job because these are kind of wet and slippery. So you just slide them in the bag. Set them down. And take your slimy glove off. So I just take my paper towel and just wipe this edge off that's going to be sealed. Sometimes I'll just wrap these in butcher paper, but since we did do 2 hogs, we'll probably have the bacon for a little bit longer. So when you vacuum seal them like this, you could store them for, you know, at least a year, sometimes 2 years. Especially with bacon, it doesn't seem to bother that much. We got this vacuum sealer to vacuum seal chickens when we butcher them, but the chickens, you leave them in ice water to chill them. So with that, there was just too much water with it, and it does have a reservoir in there to catch moisture, but it would fill up after every chicken. So we went to a shrink bag for those. Maybe we'll do a video of that. So that's it. That's sealed. You go ahead, you kind of put it up to the sun, and you can see that there's no air lines in that. And that one's done. So that can just go into the freezer. And that's all there is to it. Freeze that up. Like I said, some of these pieces that I'm cutting off we'll go ahead and eat for breakfast today. And see if we like the smoke flavor to this one. We did a batch yesterday, and you know, I tried it before I bagged it, and it was really good, so we just went with that. I smoked this the same way. I use the apple. Some people say they use hickory. A guy told me he doesn't like using too much hickory. He prefers the apple and cherry, which we didn't get any cherry, but I thought maybe trying some of that too. We still have hams to do. This will finish up our bacon. So these are the pieces that we cut off, and I decided, hey, why don't we just try to cook it right out here? So what I did, I got my cast iron pan here, and I just cut some extra fat off of the bacon out here, just to kind of season my pan a little bit. Sounds like it's getting nice and warm. So now we're going to go ahead and cut it. So the best thing is to make sure you have a really sharp knife. And these are just the little pieces that we cut off the bottom. And you just take it and you try to just slice it. If you like thin pieces, so when you thaw it out, that's what, or you can even cut it, they say when it's froze, it's pretty easy cutting, and then you can get those nice thin pieces. You can cut it beforehand if you have like a meat slicer, and then you can put it in and freeze it. And then you have slices just like you would buy in the store. So now, you just take it and throw it right in there. I figured I had to, before I start smoking the ham, I need to get another nice coal base in the fire. So I got a bunch of maple in there now that's cooking. And I was like, why am I wasting all that heat just to get the coal? So I'm like, why don't I go ahead and just fry some? So these old cast iron pans are great for this, for cooking on an open fire. That's kind of what they originally designed for. You don't want to take a regular stainless pan and do this, because the fire does get really hot and it doesn't move the heat around as much, and you'll also melt your handles off. And this way you can just keep turning it, get it where you want it. This grill's nice for this, because then if it starts getting too hot, you just move it a little bit further away from the fire. But like I said, I just need to get the coal base built back up in there, so I'm just burning it a little hotter than I do for smoking. Then I also have my hooks for my bacon hanging here, and that helps clean them off, get them a good heat to burn anything off that's on there. But yeah, it should be good.